Alden, pull the cat, will you?
Yeah.
I don't need her up here now while I'm trying to do this.
Yeah, come here.
No, go in with Alden, baby.
Yeah.
I know. What's it fact? Oh, it's your Gemma.
Which is the outside meeting, wasn't it?
No, we did it like this in June.
Oh.
That was the last one we did.
But then we had a meeting.
Well, you got, there was one outside that I didn't make,
Right.
so I don't know.
Right.
I think it was right before that.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you.
Marco.
Here's to the new year.
Cheers.
Trish, will I be able to see all the participants?
Yes, if you put it onto gallery view, you should be able to see everyone. Which, if it should be up on your right-hand corner, it says view. Do you see it?
No. Here's my technical expert.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, let's see it. Could
If you-
be.
If you're on your iPhone, you might have to scroll to see everyone, but you should be able to see at least 4.
Hmm. Wow. Share screen. You couldn't get it on here?
Let me see if I can get on with my computer with a bigger screen.
Okay, so there. Here are your people. I don't see it on your phone.
Yeah.
That's something else.
So there's participants, right?
Right. Yeah, but that's not the screen. Participants. Or you'd think. I don't know. Do you want to do it? Do you want to use my iPad?
Yeah. Let me
That
try
might be
that.
better. Because that.
It looks like everyone's here, isn't it? I mean, when I click on participants,
Yep, just missing Mike, but I'm not sure if he was coming.
Yeah.
But the applicant's not here.
okay. Well, I mean, the only person I can see is you right at the present, Trish.
All right. So how do you want to? She would have to send me the link,
Oh.
or you send me the link. Do you have an email link?
Mhm.
Yeah, send me that, and then I think this will work better for you. Should work from your phone, but so okay. Okay. Let's see. Turn this video. Okay, now it's just to let someone else let me in. Okay, we're in. Please.
All right. There we go. So I should shut this one down, right?
There's weird feedback.
How do I get rid of this?
Is that you?
Yeah.
I think
I
it's because they still have your other one on.
leave.
There you go.
So Scott, you have to unmute yourself when you're ready.
I guess while we're waiting for the applicant, we could do minutes, right?
Yeah,
Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Let's see, I think, is there a motion to, it was the minutes of, I don't have our agenda right in front of us, but what was the date?
June.
June.
I move to approve the minutes from June.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
I
Are there
I have
any
to
opposed?
abstain. I have to abstain because I wasn't
Yep.
there.
Okay. So an approval with a noted abstention. And so we're just waiting for the applicant. Did everybody realize that there was a change to the plan? I think the first plan he put out, he had the little building he was proposing in the front only 10 foot off the property line, which would have required another variance. And so he made a change and moved it to 15 feet off the line. And I just wanted to make sure everybody had the updated version. And Drew, you should make sure that, keep me in line here if that was the only change.
As far as I know, yes,
Mhm.
just moving that small building.
Um, I guess while we continue to wait for the applicant, I guess that the other thing that we meet so infrequently, in the larger towns. Again, when I was a planner and worked down in Pauling, and it was a really busy time, the zoning board would meet at least every month and have like 3 or 4 applications in front of them. And here we are, we're lucky in that we don't have a very big workload, so we don't do it that often. It's like each time it's almost like you have to go back and make sure that you're doing things correctly. And then you go through, and actually, I think this was the first time, Drew, that I realized that the application that we have, the actual forms that you have people fill out, actually go over the 5 issues that we are required to take a look at in an area variance. And if you go to the applicant's application form, those 5 things start on page 2. Number 1 at the bottom is the granting of a variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to nearby properties. When you go through the cases and what we're required to do for state law, we are supposed to confirm each of these. And again, I'm looking for the applicant, because if you go on to page 3 and go number 2 is can the desired result be achieved by some other means? And he checks no, and then he gets to, is the variance requested substantial? He checks yes. We're supposed to confirm that it's a no, but he's already checked it as yes. And then you go to page 4, and the fifth thing that the law requires us to look at is this, is a difficulty something that you have, is the difficulty that you have with the requirements of the zoning law created by something you did? And he's checking yes. Now that one, when I read through the case law, that's not a fatal flaw, but the other ones you're pretty much supposed to confirm. And so I was happy, one, to see that the forms were so well done. I don't think I realized that they go step by step through what we're supposed to look at in state law. So that was good.
Do you want me to try calling him?
That would be good if you've got his number there.
Yeah, I call him.
Yeah, kind of reluctant to proceed without the applicant. So the other thing I would mention was, again, just in a little bit of preparation, I had sent around, it was one of the educational pieces that I came across. I think it was an 11-page document that I just think it's a good refresher for all of us to go through what the process is that we are supposed to do and what the legal aspects are. And so between now and the next hearing, if we get that far even tonight, it would be a good idea for everybody to take a look at that again, or at least I found it an excellent refresher.
He's coming right now. He'll be on in a minute.
So Trish, what does this little note mean? Switch to active speaker.
Oh, I think if you do that, it will just show who's speaking on your setup screen.
Okay.
Hope he's coming soon. I just talked to him.
Yep. Well, he may be like me, technologically challenged when it comes to Zoom.
Could be. It's my fault he didn't come on right away because I had the wrong Zoom info. That's why I wanted to call him, make sure he got that other email.
Mhm. So the other people who are presently muted, they've muted themselves?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. And if you need me to bring, I could bring up the map when you're discussing the application if you want everyone to see it on the screen.
Let's have a preview. Let's see what that looks like.
Sure.
Yeah, can you move it up on? Yeah, so
Uh,
that probably more important. Yeah, that's good.
here we go.
Nice.
So,
All right, I think, welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Sorry I am late.
Yeah, no.
Not your fault.
Yeah, the,
Last week I waited and I said, well, there's a lot going on with the holidays and everything, so it's okay.
I apologize.
Yeah, I think that, so this is, we may have had one other Zoom meeting and, so again, it's something that I guess that we're all learning and doing the best we can.
Absolutely.
I think that what we would look for at this meeting is for you to just take us through what you're trying to accomplish. And, you know, I think that it's somewhat self-evident in your application. And
Okay.
then for the board members to ask any further questions, to perhaps have, if Drew has any thoughts, I think that we'd like to get those. I mean, I think that and then there'll just be general discussion. And then if we decide that there's enough information at this point, we would try to schedule a hearing at the next meeting. I know that I have a couple questions, and so I think that with that, maybe we would ask you to, again, take us through what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and between you and Drew, just talk about what you need from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay. So did everyone get a chance to review the documents I submitted?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, if you are familiar with the property, my initial proposal is to add on the existing building that's closest to 199 on the gable end of the building. I'd like to add on, I don't know the exact distance. I just grabbed the plans quick here while I was logging in, but I'd like to bring the gable end of the existing building that you see, the main building, as close as I'd be allowed towards the road to add some additional storage. That building in the front is climate controlled. It's got heat and AC, and I get a lot of inquiries for units that have climate control. And then I also was looking to do an additional building on the property line as you're looking at the building or the property from 199 towards the veterinary clinic. Along the edge of the line, along the edge of the parking lot, a shallow building that's going to look the same as the others that are there. So essentially, I'm looking to add on a bit. I've had the property since I think the year 2000, and you know, I realized that you know, Drew and I discussed it. I stopped to see him several times, and he's given me a little bit of feedback, and I realized that I'm over on the square footage. Given the amount of property that I have, but I was looking to get a variance if it's possible to do these things. My initial, the main building that you see from 199 when you come out from the high school that you're looking at, it's going to need a roof. I've owned the building since like I think 2000 or so, and it's getting ready for a roof. So I want to match the roof on that. I want to do a green metal roof to match the other buildings that are on the property. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, now would be the time to try and add a bit if I could, because I do have quite a waiting list. You know, average of 5 people. You know, there isn't a day goes by that I don't have people inquiring for storage units. I mean, it's you know. Anyway, I have the need, so I'd like to do what I can with what's there and keeping with the look of what's there.
Okay. So the concern, again, actually, I don't think I introduced myself, Steve. I'm Scott Chase. I think I'm using my wife's iPad, so it says Jean Valentine Chase, at least on my little screen here.
Yeah. Okay.
But I suspect that you may have done this in other towns and things, but the function of the Zoning Board of Appeals is not so much to go against the legislative intent of the zoning law, but there are places where the zoning law There were lots that were created before zoning. There are issues that come up that people just can't imagine will come up as they're writing a zoning law. And I guess my biggest question here is that the legislative body, which in this case is the town board, they're the ones who write and adopt the laws, has put the limitation of the 50% coverage, which is, I believe, where you are now. Actually, I think that I'm not sure. You might even be a little bit beyond. It was tough for me to read. It might be 56%. And so you're proposing to go up to the 64% coverage. And
You mean by, just to clarify that, you mean impervious coverage versus building coverage?
yeah, how does that?
My building coverage right now is at 25%, and I'm proposing a 5% increase to 30 on actual building, not impervious coverage.
I think what the board needs to look at is total coverage. So whatever you have existing total coverage,
Yeah.
and then compare that to what your proposed total coverage would be.
Okay, so I'm at.
So it is.
Oh,
So it is the impervious coverage.
Impervious plus building.
yeah. Okay, so total, according, the engineer that I hired, according to this, I'm at 56%. I'm looking to propose it to go to 64%. So 8% increase total.
Yeah, and so the issue that I have is that we could go all, we could go through the process. You've already spent some money, at least having the sketch plan and stuff, and we could go through and at the end of the day say, well, it's really not our role to check. That would, essentially be saying this board overrules the law that the legislative body has written, and that's really not our role. So it's somewhat of a risk for you going forward that we could, one of the things that I would be concerned about, there was a reason for the coverage, maybe it has to deal with runoff of water. We could say we need you to show us some engineering details that that's not causing a problem, which, becomes a little bit of a drainage study by your engineer. I'm sort of pulling stuff out of the air here, but I guess you could end up, spending more money. And at the end of the day, the decision might be that, no, it's not our role to overrule the restrictions that the town board put in the law.
Okay. Understood. So it, out of the two that I'm in what I've submitted to add on and to request a variance, is it possible that I would get one of the two in some minor square footage, or is it just going to be the letter of the law, X number of square feet, X number of coverage?
Well, again, we're not, although we have a quasi judicial role, we're just, the folks that got appointed. But let me just read to you what the legal guidance is that we're supposed to follow. And it is that the zoning board of appeals shall take into consideration the benefit of the applicant if the variance is granted, as weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or the community by such grant. In making such determination, the board shall also consider, and this is where you can look at your own application. It's
Okay.
Number one, whether an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. Two, whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance. I think that's pretty clear. You can't get any more square footage or come up with a way to beat the coverage other than you already mentioned. You can't do 2 stories. I mean, that would be the only other thing, and it's probably not feasible for a storage business.
No, I considered it, but the cost for an elevator and stuff, I don't think would be feasible.
Yep, and three, whether the requested area variance is substantial. One of the things that I had concern was that, to that question, you already answered that, yes, it is substantial. And 4, whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. And then 5, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision of the Board of Appeals, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. And so, again, as much as we try to walk in the applicant's shoes, you need to walk in ours a little bit and
Sure.
understand what our role is.
Sure.
And so we're supposed to go through those 5 tests. And the one that they do give you some relief on is the last one, which they said it doesn't necessarily preclude the granting of the variance, but it can come into play.
Sure.
So I am concerned that, I don't know, maybe we should have a revised, you already checked number 3 as saying, is it substantial as yes?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I misunderstood that on the application.
Yep. Well, and that's why we kind of have these discussions, is so
Sure.
that, again, we ask you to walk in our shoes,
Sure.
and
Well, if
just
I,
as we try to walk in yours.
no, absolutely, I understand, and I think that I've, over the years, I've kept the place. I think it looks good aesthetically, and there's minimal traffic and stuff. So, given the terms that you just laid out with that, is it possible? Well, they say, is it possible? Should I request just a singular variance in the form of possibly just adding on a little bit of coverage on the front of the main building before I do the roof? Or is it just, am I just throwing good money after bad? Is it a
Yeah, I mean,
possibility? You just not going to let it happen?
again, as one person, that's not up to me. I'd let the other, I would ask, and in fact, for the other board members to kind of weigh in here and sort of, maybe you can get some temperatures here and see what it sounds like.
Well, I mean, I spent some money on this engineering layout already, and it is what it is. I understand.
Yep.
I understand what it reads, and I understand the coverage situation, but I'm asking, is it a possibility, and what would preclude you from saying no to something like that? I'm not asking for a huge addition or something unsightly,
Right.
looking to kind of maximize what the potential of the property, for what I use it for.
Anybody else want to share some thoughts? Please.
So Scott, my question would be, what he's using, I understand the square footage, I get that. But what he's using the building for, it's not, and Drew, maybe you can help us out here. There's no sewage, there's no water. I mean, I understand the runoff, I get that. But he's looking to improve upon what currently exists. And what I got from the application is the only hangup is the square footage requirement. Am I missing something else there?
No, I think that, but if you took that further, so the town board has set a limit, and so now you essentially decide you'll change the limit. What's to say that you can't come in and now raise it to next year to 75 or 80 or 90%? You understand where I'm taking that?
I totally see where you're going with that. But in this particular case, Steve's property is limited to, what he has proposed would be the max that could possibly happen. And in his case, it's a unique situation. He's a storage facility. It's not a residential. It is a commercial property, obviously, but it's not a residential. I think in this case, it's a special situation. That's how I was seeing it. It made sense that he wants to expand. He wants to provide a better service to more people. But I completely see what you're saying, Scott. I just think in this case, it is our job to look at it. I think he would meet the exception rule in this particular case. Anybody else have any thoughts?
If I could weigh in on that too, you know, since I've built the place, the traffic is so minimal. Like anytime I stop in any day of the week, there's never anyone there. If there's one car there, that's a car. And I certainly don't want to make it look any different than it currently does. I currently have two access points to 199. The original building that was there when I bought it was a horseshoe shaped parking lot in the front. And I have one entrance closed off, but I haven't officially closed it off with the DOT. So that was one of my concessions, if you will. I would say I'd close off the westernmost entrance completely and kind of landscape that corner to provide access to the front of it. But you know, I always keep the place neat. I have no outside storage whatsoever. And the people moving and calling it, like I said, there's definitely a need for it. And I'm looking at other properties, I've considered other locations, but it's obviously, you know, more expensive than going this route to consider adding a little bit onto this. I don't even have an outside dumpster. I don't even provide that for people. I've never had a yard sale there or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
I've got a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. So on one hand, I understand the reason for the square footage requirements because it's in the Hamlet Main Street area, and so like it says, it had, you know, in terms of density and access for fire trucks and the rest, and then also for businesses to be able to be used and that fit with the neighborhood. So I know where you are and I know how you've maintained it, and I often thought it doesn't really fit in the neighborhood. It's like normally I wouldn't want storage to be right like in the center of town, but you keep it really nice, and like you said, you're looking to like landscape in the beginning in the front instead of like having like pavement in a parking lot in the front, which is not good design. And like you said, you don't have a dumpster there, and you've been a good neighbor. And I understand what you're trying to do is like maximize the use of it in a way that, you know, that, and you'd said in the application too, in a lot of ways that you're trying to make it consistent with, you know, the roof, you would try to match it up with the, you know, that it would be aesthetically pleasing, that kind of thing. So I think all of that is good. I hear what you're saying though too, Scott, about like, you know, it has to do with precedent. So I'm thinking about there was another applicant for a business that was near the elementary school who made a similar argument about expanding the business there, but it was also in the Hamlet Main Street district. But that involved a lot of truck noise, you know, danger, like you said. That's different, you know, that than what you're describing, Steve. That there's not a lot of traffic, but it's also well used and that you're a good neighbor. So, I mean, I can see both sides.
If I might on that note too, you know, I understand with the businesses too, you don't want the parking out along the road. You don't want to drive 50 cars, which I probably everyone can attest they've never seen that. So when people come and go, they might be there for a half an hour or an hour. By bringing the gable end of that, I guess my main request is going to be, I'm looking at overall square footage. If I could bring that roof line as the building you're looking at the front towards the road, the 20 feet that I'm requesting, you know, to come out 20 feet, I think it's an additional, I don't know how many square feet, because I wasn't quite ready for this. I apologize. I was the other.
Yeah. It's a little over 1,000 square feet, Steve.
Yeah.
It's 32 by 32 almost.
32 by 32 with a little facade on it.
Yeah.
That would preclude any vehicles from being able to park out in front, because now that would be the entrance. They would almost have to go alongside when they access that. You know, and if I did a facade, I'm going to keep the same existing sign if I could. You know, I wouldn't change any of that at all, you know, and it is a special circumstance. I get that. And I definitely, the other building I would love to do, but I understand my limitations as well. So, you know, the community's contacting me. I have dentists, I have doctors storing records there and the climate control in the front. When the school, even when the school closed down this summer with the COVID stuff earlier on, you know, they were right on me. They, you know, a couple people called from the school saying, can we store stuff over there? Do you have anything available? And I said, I don't. And I said, geez, I could park, you know, if I could park a temporary storage thing there, what would be I allowed to do? I'd have to check with Drew on that. But I didn't, because I kind of said, I don't want that. You know, the place doesn't look like, you know, that. And it's just, like I say, supply and demand thing. I'm getting the phone calls, I'm getting the requests, and you know, so I figure this is my really only option without going up. And no one on the board would be happy with it going up, nor would I be happy with the expense of it. It just wouldn't pay off.
So Scott, quick question for my own learning, I guess. I haven't been on the board when we've discussed an area variance for square footage. Primarily there's setbacks or some other purpose. So do we have the authority to grant a variance to go over the square footage, or do we not even have the authority to do that?
I believe that we have broad powers. I suppose that whatever I might say, or any of us might say or think, someone could always challenge, obviously, and then then whatever judge that looked over the case would move up the ladder till somebody, you know, stopped asking. But on the face of it, I would say yes, we do have that kind of authority. But
well,
again,
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't, you know, that we weren't having this discussion in vain, that, you know, even if we had said, yeah, go for it, then it would come back and say, oh, well, it's against town law, so we can't. So I guess I was just trying to frame it around, you know, whether or not we can even approve the variance if we wanted to.
Yeah, I think that we have kind of broad authority. So again, I'm a little, I have mixed feelings, which I suspect I'm probably not alone in that. I am concerned that the town board has set a limit, and Steve is essentially asking us to allow him to exceed that.
I guess my thoughts are, I understand what you're saying, Scott, and everybody else. I also can appreciate the fact that he's got a lot of requests for more units, and in a way is providing a service to the town. So, you know, I think that's a valuable service, whether or not directly in the middle of the hamlet or not. I mean, that's a whole other question. But my other thought is that, yes, the town board has set this in the zoning law, but the town board is also going to be reviewing the zoning law shortly. And I don't know if this is one of the things on their docket to review or not, but I would hate to say, no, you can't do it, and then have the town board come in and say, oh, we changed the square footage like next year when they review the zoning law.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can make any decisions on what might happen in the future. We can only base our decisions on what the law is in time, in its present situation.
And I also think it comes down to what is substantial. So the other examples that come to my mind was the big box store that wanted to build like right in the entrance to the town. That was clearly like over the limit. You know, that was clearly substantial. That would like goes totally out of character. With the town, with the comprehensive plan, with the, you know, and this is not like at that's not at that extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. In fact, I think that this could make an improvement at least the addition to the front of the building. And I don't know, it's, you know, obviously we're not making a decision tonight. We will, I mean, one of the things, Steve, again, when we ask you to sit in our shoes, is that we have to listen to what your neighbors may or may not say also.
Absolutely.
And somebody else may come up with some concerns that we didn't even think about. And that's the whole purpose of the public hearing and reaching out to the public. Again, the purpose tonight was to just see, you know, you get a little bit of the flavor of what people's concerns might be and how they might look at it. And then and then we are also supposed to tell you, is there anything else that we think that would be obvious to us that we would need, and that we would think that the neighbors would automatically request. So, and in that regard, I guess the one other thing that I don't see is just, I'd like to see a little illustration of the side building or something to that effect, assuming that we might go forward with this, but I mean, if we go forward from here.
Sure, and I guess that would be my question too. Like I said, my initial is, my main concern would be adding on that larger building in the front, just the facade, and just because I have more requests for the climate control units. They're smaller and they bring a little more money, but you know, more than half the calls come in are requesting the climate control than not. So I would be more concerned with that. And it's a level grade. It wouldn't change the look of any. And I could certainly draw up the other one, you know, to present that. But I'm glad, you know, this is giving me feedback anyway. I mean, any little bit I can add on with, because I got to do that roof anyway in the next couple of years. You know, I'm local. I've owned it for a long time, and I don't foresee a huge change in the traffic flow or anything like that. And I just think that, you know, anything would be appreciated. Any little bit I get out of it would make it, you know, good for me all the way around. So.
Well, my other thought on that, what he's talking about with this front building and adding the climate control units, one of the things that we always talk about is having buildings set close to the road, and that would actually bring his property more in compliance with that requirement. Even though it's adding square footage, it does bring the front of the building closer to the road frontage. So I don't know. I like that part of it.
Yeah, well, I have to admit that I do too. Is
that's the general way everybody's going, right? Parking in the rear, not what? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I would, when I did the buildings in the rear, I never officially closed down the horseshoe of that, what originally was a horseshoe when it was a upholstery shop when I bought it. I keep it closed off because it's just easier, you know, one traffic flow in and out. So I definitely plan on doing some more landscaping there. I got some maple trees that are dying, and the power company just took down that one big giant maple tree I had in the front. So I got to take the stump out from that. I'm gonna do something with the entrance.
Anyone else have, I mean, it sounds to me like that we're at least at this point willing to take it to the next step unless I hear some other comments. Carl, you've been pretty quiet. Unusual for you.
Because I was on mute. So one time I'm able to be put on mute. I hope you all enjoyed it. It's the amount of square footage concerns me, but I do like the front building being expanded closer to the road. Sounds like good business to me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the neighbors say, but I would think that that would be a fair trade to you know, get that other entrance closed, dress up the front of that building. I don't know about the other little one, but you know, again, I guess we'll just wait and hear what the neighbors have to say and see if any other things come up.
Okay.
Is there any other information Besides, again, we're not looking to have you, I would invest as little money as you can in terms of providing information, because we never know where this goes, Carl, and we don't want, or Steve, I mean, we never want to see an applicant get a lot invested and at the end of the day come up with nothing. So, provide the information, but don't overdo it. So even for the side building, that can just be a picture of one, that's going to be very close to it.
Okay.
You don't have to pay your engineer to draw it.
Okay, I have taken some pictures of some other facilities where I've seen that. And as to the landscape design, would you want to see something specific on that, or can we leave that open for the board to make recommendations if I get the variance?
Yeah, I think that we would probably, I would leave that. Yeah, we can try to make some recommendations. I don't know. So
Sure.
this is December. It would be the fourth Tuesday in January would be the hearing. I would say that we should be done, I would hope, a month after that, even if we had to go through some conditions and things, but there's no guarantee to that either, because you never know. Again, somebody may come out of the woodwork with something we didn't even think about.
I completely understand, and I appreciate everybody's time. I know with everything going on, holidays, so thank you very much.
Anybody on the board have any other comments before we go ahead and set a public hearing for the fourth Tuesday? All right, hearing none, I guess we would accept the application at this point with the understanding that you're going to provide an illustration of the side building. And the other question I have, Steve, so there is a concern with the amount of impervious coverage. Right now, the drainage, I see the little squares, are those catch basins so that you're capturing the water on site?
Correct. I currently have 4 large catch basins. And there's an old well just off the east side of the existing wood building in front that's climate controlled.
Yeah.
And if I did get both of these variances and I did the other building, I would probably cap that well and just, put another basin either right near it or cover over it. I have to have somebody look at that aspect. But the front parking lot, it does puddle up a little bit up there. And if I did this front, I would probably pave the main entrance to match the rear part of it. I never did the front because I always thought, well, someday I may do something like this. So
one of the concerns, so I don't know, I've had different things in my career. One of them is water quality management, and I would be concerned potentially, because actually I've had experience with this in 2 different properties that I've owned, where catch basins have gone in, and then it was, the government, it was state highway in one case, a town highway in the other. Catch basin goes in, all the salt goes in the catch basin. I had one water supply polluted, and also, a beautiful 100-year-old sugar maple die. So if I'm your neighbor, they don't have public water on either side of you, right? They each have wells.
Correct. Everybody's got a well. Yeah.
So, one of the things that I might be looking for is, again, some condition that there wouldn't be, salt or chemicals used, because you're putting all that runoff into the drainage basin.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about stuff that might come up.
I have once a year I've had it, I have the vac system done to draw out any leaves and stuff that run off there. And I know, I understand completely. I understand.
Yeah. And, we could make that a condition. As far as being able to follow up, we probably can't. But again, those are some of the things that if I were a neighbor, I might come and raise that issue.
Understood. Would there be any point where during this process that the board would physically make an appearance there as a group or?
I don't know. Yes, I guess as a group we could. We normally do the day of the hearing. But in this case, everything is so easy to see. I suppose we could each visit individually. I don't know. Board members, how do you want to handle this? Might be good for.
On board with going, and it's outside, number one. I'll wear a mask. I think we all need to be there to see what Steve is proposing. If he stakes out like he usually does, I would prefer that myself.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah,
would be good. So let's do, so our hearing would normally be the fourth Tuesday at 7:30, correct, Trish? And so we'll try to do it in the daylight. I don't know, the days will get a little, we're picking up a couple minutes a day, but I would say we would have to do it no later than 5 o'clock, right?
That's fine. Should be still light at 5 then, I would think.
I'll have to take your word for it then, because I won't be off till 5:30, even, remotely, but yeah. I mean, I can swing by and take a look.
I could certainly, even with headlights and the lights there, we probably.
In the street, right?
that works.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, Steve, you must have lights on site, right?
Do have a couple lights, yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So shall we try for 5:30?
Would
That
that
way
work?
we can get you, Margot?
I finish right at 5:30, so I could get there by 5:35.
All right.
Right around the corner.
All right.
Yeah, I am. If
Sure.
that's okay.
All right.
I mean,
think
or you
we'll be
guys can
all
go
right.
ahead earlier and I'll just,
Mhm.
swing by. I don't want
Okay.
you to change it all for me.
Sure.
All right, 5:30 then and the fourth Tuesdays, anybody have a calendar? in front of them?
26.
26.
26.
Okay.
All right,
I
and
was-
I'll
January,
have the drawing done prior to that as well as best I can.
5:30, site visit.
Yep.
Thanks.
Look, I have them all, they all come up, they preload. Except it's not Frank. Site visit.
And Trish, how does it work with public participation? We just advertise that they can dial into the meeting?
Yeah, the way we've been doing it on the planning board is I will schedule the meeting and then all the neighbors' notices have all the meeting information already. And then it's in the paper with all the meeting information, and the town website posts it as well. So they can log into Zoom and give their opinion.
Okay, and let's see. So Steve, the other thing is that before she can advertise or send out the notices, Trish will tell you about the application fees and the mailing fees, what we have to notify everyone within
Sure.
500 feet
Okay, that's fine.
with, with a, I don't know, they charge you like $5 to send the
Yeah,
return receipt requested thing or whatever it is for each of those neighbors. You got quite a few probably within 500 feet.
Couple, yeah, definitely. Sure, that's fine. Sure. I have her email, so if you want to just email me whatever I need to do, I'll forward that to you. Because I know you
Okay.
emailed me at the meeting, so.
And so at this point, I would say then as long as you're square with Trish, she'll go ahead and advertise, and we will see you again on the fourth Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thank you very
And
much.
yes, and actually Marie requested to stake out the building locations.
Will do.
And
Okay,
we'll hope that there's not 2 feet of snow.
Exactly.
understood.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, take care.
Yep. Do we have any other questions or concerns or business as a board? I see none. Is there then I guess a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, you can press leave the meeting.
Thanks. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Take
Year.
care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.